Nick, welcome to the Built Different podcast. How are you today, mate?
Good. Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
Hot.
Yeah, it's very hot here in Dubai. We're in July recording at the moment, and I only just got here, so I'm feeling it big time.
Wow. How long have you been here?
So 4 months. We've only been here 4 months. This is our first summer experience in Dubai, but and the kids are away to the UK for now, so it's just me and the dog. So
Amazing.
Feeling the heat.
What kind of dog you got? I'm a dog lover.
We've got a Cocker Spaniel.
My first dog.
Yeah, class. Absolute class. So there's loads of places where we could start, Nick, and you've got a fascinating story. One of our mutual friends, Kai, gave me a little bit of an insight into it, and I was fascinated. So if you could let us know a little bit about yourself for the audience, why you're in Dubai, a bit of your background, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm 48 years old. Not that really
You don't look it.
matters. 55. So I got to Dubai in 2009. So on the 20th of June 2009, I arrived at 3:35 or something in the morning, and it was hot. And I come from a tiny little island called the Isle of Man. For the watchers or who don't know where that is, it's in between England and Ireland. Generally rains a lot, often very cold, and everybody knows everybody, or so the saying goes. And I came out to Dubai in 2009 with an insurance company to set up a online insurance product, and never looked back. As an islander who never thought he'd leave his hometown, he's suddenly going, wow, I'm never going back there. Yeah. And haven't been here ever since, but I've been away from the UK ever since.
Mm-hmm. Good. So what is it about Dubai that's kept you here?
Second time. So first time was just the newness, to be honest. The weather was amazing. Even the summer, to be honest. Dubai's fast paced. And I like doing new things, and I really like challenging myself, especially in a sporting perspective. So can you believe I learnt to snowboard in Dubai in the middle of summer?
Yeah.
So I think it was super fast paced. So I was here 2009 to 2014 first time, and I worked in the insurance, financial planning, wealth management world. And unless you were a Rolex wearer and you got diamonds and Ferraris, and it's kind of, you don't really fit in. And I kind of felt like that over a few years, and to the point where then a friend of mine had moved to Singapore, and he was running an insurance company there, and he offered me a job. So I was like, spoke to the wife and the dog at the time, and off we went to Singapore. And actually, I loved Singapore for the first 3 years of the 6 we were there.
Okay. Much
Much more family orientated, or it was at the time, because I felt Dubai was very party going.
Yeah.
Young in those days as well. It was really young energy.
Yeah.
Lots of mid 30s to early 40s professionals, all high level professionals as well. Small communities. And it was just frenetic.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I have type 1 diabetes as well. And it's kind of like, it's challenging when you just need to go out drinking all the time. And I find it hard to say no to most things. Moved to Singapore and then came back here in 2020. Mm-hmm. And if I'm honest, the landscape has changed quite a bit. Or maybe my environment within the landscape has changed quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think it's far more family orientated now. A lot of the people that I knew when I was here first time, if they're still here, they've now got kids, they bought a house, it's home. Mm. Even the same people that were coming for 2 years and never went home, which is the typical story. If you make it through the first 6 months, you're probably going to make it through the first 2 years. Mm. And if you make it through the first 2 years, you're probably going to make a good lifestyle here. Yeah. But what I noticed this time was become more family orientated in Dubai. It has become more competitive. There are way, way more people here now that would never have left the UK and
a lot of skilled people coming as well. Yeah.
I think that's a mixture.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a mixture of skills coming into the market because people are trying to get away from the I don't know how to describe it, but Europe and the UK and even the US to a degree.
Yeah.
They're fed up of the taxes and the cost of living and the value creation that they give versus the value they get back from the taxes that they pay. It's just not balancing. The balance sheet's not there anymore.
Who knew by continuing to tax people to the death that they're going to move?
It's hard. I mean, the cost of living. I mean, my wife's a New Zealander, and even there, to a degree, the cost of living now is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're not earning $100,000 a year, then it's really hard to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Poverty's growing. I think whilst the middle class is still expanding to a degree, it's the lower end of the middle class, not and the wealth creation is still amassing at very small pockets at the very top.
So nowadays, are you still in insurance? Are you doing a bit more in the AI world, coaching world?
Yeah. So my career journey has been mostly insurance, mostly financial services, specifically investments and wealth management. Most of that time was in sales as well. But I'm a terrible, not the best salesperson, because I'm more about how do I help someone else grow, so then I will get a return from a reciprocation perspective. So I spent most of my time in sales trying to help people develop, and what that morphed into is me doing some coaching qualifications, me doing actually a degree late in life. When I was in Singapore, I got headhunted, but then declined for the role because I didn't have a degree. So I went and did a degree in business, and that set me on a road of learning and development, which is the story of where I am now in terms of what I'm trying to create. In terms of on the technology side, we'll call it AI, but
AI is a technology, isn't it?
It is, and I think everybody's doing something with AI now. If you're not using it in some way, shape, or form, then you are definitely getting left behind.
Yeah.
Because it's moving super fast.
Yep.
So, HR, learning and development, was my place of specialty. That I then really formed that into a role, but that just frustrated the life out of me, because corporations waste billions on this idea of training or leadership, or
a lot of it's sometimes nonsense.
It's 99% of it is nonsense. It's tick boxes, corporate jargon.
Yeah.
Groups of people who are trying to save their jobs.
Are these companies in Dubai or
these companies
more globally?
Are everywhere, globally? It's a theme. Like human resources as an idea, as a corporate idea, I think has lost its way. In certain parts of the world, there are desperate needs to ensure the employees of the organization are taken care of, but at the same time, regulation has become so harsh that it's becoming really expensive to actually do business.
Yeah.
And I think with every system, it becomes over-regulated and over-bureaucratized, which is typically what's happening with things like HR now. And HR is the broad concept for learning and development, payroll, rewards, operations.
Contracts, everything.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff will be automated through things like AI over time. But I have my kind of pathway or avenue is really about performance, and I connect performance to development or learning and development at the same time, because I think organizations have separated them, but actually it's all about performance.
Yep.
The world we're in a capitalist society. You have to be able to show value for whatever it is that you're doing.
Hey guys, Steven here with a quick interruption to the episode, but it's for good reason. I want to give a shout out to the official sponsors of the Built Different podcast, Suited and Booted. These guys are a premium formal and casual wear brand with stores across Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Glasgow. And I've been working with them for a while now, and to be honest, I was actually buying from them long before we became partners. I'm actually wearing some of their products today whilst recording this episode. They're on a mission to completely change the tailoring game, and they're doing it. The service, the attention to detail, the quality of the products, it's all first class. They genuinely outshine their competition. And you know what I love most is that we are aligned on values. They're humble, client focused, and all about creating a top tier experience. That's exactly how I try to run things too. So whether you're leveling up your wardrobe, prepping for your wedding, or just need to look sharp for a boat party, brunch, or big business event, go check out Suited and Booted. Head to suitedbooted.com, or better yet, visit one of their stores. You'll get the full experience and you'll leave feeling sharper, more confident and ready for your next big event. Now, let's get back to the episode.
If an organisation is not making money, then we have no jobs,
Yep.
right? So it's all about performance. And I think there's a lot of noise in terms of leadership. You know, everyone's spending tens of thousands of dollars going on a leadership course, which I think is balmy, because you are not a leader in an organisation. You are the mascot. You are the person who decides on the strategy or decides on the direction. You are not a leader, right? You may end up being a leader.
You might have leadership qualities.
Well, yes and no. So yes, but let's try to separate this idea of leadership, right? Because when you take a role, whether you're a manager of a group, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a whatever, you are not a leader. You are a manager or you're a CEO. And what's happened in the world of learning and development is we brought in this concept of leadership as a quality, as a trainable quality as well. But most people in leadership roles have been thrust there by either a promotion or something. But what does leadership really mean? Leadership is having a group of people follow you for whatever reason. Right? So it's not about, in business, it's not about leadership, i.e. having, or there's leadership traits. This is why it becomes complicated, but ultimately you are not a leader, so to speak, I don't think. I think you are a person who helps people generate performance, right? We need to call it something else, not leadership, because that's taking us down a path that's wasting money in organizations. And I think if we focused on this idea of performance, what we'd actually see is people then seeing other people to help them generate performance. And because if you think, I don't know, servant leaders and all this kind of stuff, there's about 1,000,001 different leadership traits or styles now. It's like, come on.
Do you think leadership and that terminology is almost kind of ego-driven in some ways?
Yes, I think hierarchy, this region is very hierarchical. So titles matter significantly.
Status.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they do to a degree everywhere. Okay, there's a great guy called Geert Hofstede, who's kind of the godfather of culture. You should have a look at it, or any of his listeners have a look at him, because he's fabulous for understanding different cultural themes. He did a big piece of work in, I think, the 60s or 70s with IBM, a global study around why do some areas perform differently to other areas. And it was, he understood, or he pulled out of that a load of different national cultures or national ideas. So things like power distance, so things like individualism versus collectivism. So the West is very individualistic. I will win. Whereas
at the expense of you.
At the expense of you, absolutely. So we want to just get over the line. Whereas Japan, for example, they would die for one another as an idea, right? And so understanding these cultural differences really then drive the groups. And again, it's leadership is a...
So with leadership itself then, is that something, I know it's something you maybe don't believe in from a company perspective too much, but is that something you've got yourself involved in businesses and realised you don't like it, you don't enjoy that aspect, it's too commercialized.
So I do believe in leadership. I think leadership is from a humanity perspective, or a human perspective. We all aspire to be to be like someone else. Generally, right? I would love to be as good as Tadej Pogacar or Jonas Vingegaard in a cycling perspective, or in my younger days it might have been Chris Waddle as a footballer. So they are leading my ideas of how I'm going to become the next version of myself. So leadership is still important, but I think it's about changing the what does leadership mean in business, or actually removing the term leadership and replacing it with something else that's more relevant. And I think that comes down to something I'm calling the performance equation. Now, ironically, the thing that I'm working on, or the digital system I'm working on, is called the Leadership Launchpad. Okay. Maybe we'll have to find a better name.
Oh, that's good.
Because I think, again, it's not about leadership. It's about performance. And if your organization's not performing, then who cares about a leader? Right. So
stop worrying about leaders and start worrying about the results of the business.
Absolutely. Right. And I think that's then when this performance equation that I've kind of, over the years, I love looking at what does this plus this, or this times this plus this plus this plus this, how does that all work together? And there's an amazing one from a sales training perspective, there's an amazing one called the trust equation. And that kind of, when I learned about that a few years ago, kind of got me thinking about how do things line up together. And I sent a message to someone about 2.5 years ago, because he'd put a post on LinkedIn. And I said, well, what about if you do this plus this plus this? Something's missing, not sure what yet. You get a good coaching experience. And then I went back to it 6 months ago and
cracked it
whether we've cracked it or not is going to take some scientific rigor, I think, and only time will tell. But I think what I've actually formulated is an equation that demonstrates how performance can be attained. And that's another thing, is when I ask somebody, what does performance mean?
It's different for everyone.
Yes, and it is, but it's outcome, right?
Yes,
you're going to say, how many people watch this podcast, right? Or how much engagement.
It's whatever KPI is important to you, how much revenue making, how much profit, what's our churn rate, all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. So, and then when you look at performance from that perspective, you start doing things that don't make sense, right? Actually, if you forget about the outcomes, I say this with some serious caveats, because you can't just forget about the outcomes, right? But for the simplicity of this, forget about the outcomes and focus on what actually do you need to do to deliver performance. And it's not write an email or make a phone call. It's something else. And it's about, for me, it's about how do you uncover insights? How do we converse with one another to generate ideas? So there are a couple of enablers as part of this equation, in terms of how we respond to each other, how we talk to one another, how we build ideas. Then there's a catalyst for performance, i.e. the thing that really generates movement forwards. And I think many people in the business world get this wrong, because they either apply too much of it or they don't apply enough of it, in terms of how pressurized does the system feel. If you were able to do a data analyze the data in somewhere like LinkedIn, most of the people complaining about business would be saying that their manager or their leader was telling them to do things they didn't want to do. So too much pressure. And then there's probably a whole lot of people that don't post on LinkedIn because there's not enough pressure in the system. Right. So it's about that catalyst of movement needs to be balanced just right. And that's where I think you get all these leadership training programs, because how do you balance that pressure. And I've called it something else in the equation. But then that just confuses things, because you get all these different ideas, servant leader and all these other things, that then the cognitive load on a human being trying to apply all these things is just too intense. And then they just revert to type. So then you've got your catalyst, and then you've got your aligners. So I don't know, your KPIs, where you're going, your view, your mission, your vision, whatever you want to call it. And then you've got your outcomes. So the actual, this is all great if we don't actually do anything.
Yeah, it's using the data, isn't it, and applying it.
Action is fundamentally, you could also call it a catalyst, but it's not really a catalyst. It's kind of a catalyst, because you could have an amazing idea, pretty much how I am working at the moment with this idea, but because I have a trait for perfectionism, I have to be held accountable by people behind me saying, are you moving fast enough forwards, or are you sitting on this trying to make it too perfect, too early?
And I know you're working on that concept, but are you already testing that out in some of your existing clients? And
so I've basically created this equation has allowed me to create, for your audience's sake, I'm going to say a personality profile.
Okay.
However, I want to caveat that
almost like a disc profile.
So you've heard of DISC, right?
Yeah.
So I love DISC, by the way. It's my favorite of all of them. And not because, so Insights are one of the, I think it's Insights that do the actual DISC profiling. Surrounded by Idiots is the actual book written by Erickson. But I think anecdotally, you can see human beings when you read it.
Yeah.
Whereas all the others, they're like, you've got to work hard cognitively. Yeah. You've got to use a lot of brain power to figure it out. Whereas you can see someone that's red, or you can see someone that's yellow.
Yeah.
And I think that allows for less brain power to be used.
Yeah, you can put them in that box almost, and then you know how to communicate with them. And
so, but this is the mistake I think they've all made, is that they've gone, you fit in this box, or you kind of fit in this box, just
sometimes
sitting over the line of this one. But when I look at them and I look at my life, for example, I go, well, actually, I'm in all of them, and all of them are relevant
at different points.
In some contextual, environmental perspective, they're all relevant.
Yep.
They all come out in some degree. And I think because we're trying to, we overcomplicate the world by trying to simplify the world. So we've created this insight idea, and now people are sitting in their box.
Yeah. Hey guys, quick one before we jump back into the episode. If you're a business owner or a high-performing exec and you've ever thought about buying a business without risking your own cash, then I've built something for you. I've launched a brand new online mentorship program that breaks down exactly how I've done it. Real-world strategies, no fluff, no recycled theory, just the stuff that actually works. If you want to learn how to find deals, structure them properly, and start building real wealth through acquisition, then click the link in the show notes or description, and I'll see you inside. Now let's get back to the episode.
And they've
put limits on themselves and labels on themselves.
Because they've labelled themselves.
Yeah.
So what I've tried to move to with this idea is it's not a personality, it's an energy, right? It's an energy system, and as the equation itself says, and you will never be perfect. I've written a utopian idea of what it would be like to score 15 out of 15 across every single one of the 5 dimensions. Principles. And I just don't see it being possible.
Yeah.
Right? You're always going to push energy across, depending on performance at home is different to performance in the office, different to performance on the football field or the cycling.
You can't run 100% on all aspects at all times.
No. It would be very difficult.
Yeah.
And I think so. What you have to acknowledge, the first thing I had to acknowledge was energy moves, and energy is transitional. So how do we bring that into the idea of coaching? And sorry, to actually come back, because I think this is an important part as well, talking about learning development and stuff like that, is this all started when I realized that learning and development is maybe the budgets that are assigned to learning and development in organizations could be better utilized.
Yeah.
There are some amazing people in that industry, but I think we're stuck in a traditional model that says deliver training because that person asked for it, or we can see through the data that issue exists. And I think what happened is some great training sessions were delivered, but really at the wrong time or in the wrong context.
Yeah, and it's the way the training is delivered. I mean, if I even think back to school, you know, the way you're taught things in school is just learn that repetition, but it's not actually thinking. There's no thinking going on. It's just learn that bit of text, learn that equation, and do it so many times it's in your brain. But when you leave school, I mean, I couldn't. It's funny, right? Because my 6-year-old who's just started school here in Dubai, he comes back with things from his class, and I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah. But I think it's an issue of timing.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big problems. And I set out on the journey to create this contributor to manager program. So I've got an 11-module contributor to manager program. So basically taking people who are doing their job well and giving them the skills to manage groups of people. But what I found myself doing was going, well, I'm just doing the same thing. Yeah, it's interesting and it's a great module, but I'm still delivering it at the wrong time, or potentially delivering it at the wrong time, most likely delivering it at the wrong time, because you can't. How do you bring these things into the moment, which is where they need to be? And that's, I think, the revolution of AI. We can now deliver things at the right time far more effectively than we ever could before, because we don't need to be involved. We don't have to wait. Budgets can be assigned early and then aligned through the AI system. And I think as well that whilst organizations over the last couple of years have started spending more money on coaching, I still don't think I think the coaching industry is still maturing. And I still think many coaches are delivering value through connecting with the person's story, not actually helping that
with a skill
person
gap
move forwards. Yeah. Because it's if we were in a coaching environment, you'd start talking about your situation, and quickly you'd probably go into the story of the situation. I see a lot of coaches getting caught up in that story of, so tell me more about that thing.
Yeah.
Actually, it should be more of, well, who was showing up at the time for you, and getting you thinking about how you showed up and what insights you can gather through that you wouldn't have considered at the time. So I think coaching is still maturing, and I think with AI we've got this opportunity. It's still very early in the days to develop a 24/7 digital companion that can help and support you see who you are as part of the performance equation to help you deliver more.
Yeah, and it's also knowing what to feed into the AI, isn't it, in terms of the information in the first place to get a valuable answer back.
So one of the things, so the coach, so I'm building a digital coach, and one of the things, you have to build the engine for it, the learning materials really well. It has to have some really good guardrails. It has to have a massive training data and resource bank to draw from. But it won't be like, I don't know, let's say you want to create a strategy document or write an email to a client or about customers or whatever. For those things, you have to be really good at prompting the engine. But for the coaching experience, the idea is not to have to be perfect with the prompt. It's to talk about who you are and where you're showing up. And then for the companion, call it a chatbot, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a companion because I think that's what it is. It's on your shoulder, helping you see you
at all times.
At all times, and I think as long as the training material and its resource database or its knowledge base is strong, it shouldn't necessarily need the user to become a prompt engineer. It should just be go into a conversation, and it should be conversational. But also, you've got to teach the coach how to act, because if as a user, I mean, who's not a user of ChatGPT, and then that's just one of about 10.
I think it's actually taken over Google as a search engine almost, isn't it?
Well, people are using it as a search engine now. Yeah, the cost to the climate.
Yeah.
If you're a climate change activist, you don't want to be talking about things like this. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Because the processing power required is insane. And I don't really know anything about technology, right? So I'm just a guy off a street that worked in learning and development. Is passionate about people growing. And where are we going? The coach, if it has a strong knowledge source, it should just be able to converse with you.
Quite deeply.
Yeah.
And on the performance thing, one of the really fascinating things about you is outside of business, outside of working, you're a bit of a fitness freak, I'm going to say, because some of the stuff you do, I could never imagine doing myself in a million years, only because I'm not capable. Yeah. So things like, and I might make a mess of this, but you've cycled up Everest 3 times, is that right?
Yeah, not Everest specifically, but the height of Everest.
Wow.
Yeah. So
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, so I have type 1 diabetes, right? So, and I got that when I was 13, just about to turn 14. I was an avid Arsenal fan, so my mum bought me an Arsenal shirt. I think I then was a Liverpool fan not long after that, and then someone else after that. But yeah, as where am I going? Type 1 diabetes, I think for my own personal survival, because it's I can die early, lots of complications, lots of daily management. It's not easy. It's just after 30 odd years, you get an element of structure that you can hold on to. But I still do lots of exercise because I find without exercise, it's super hard to manage.
Right.
I have an interesting relationship with food. And so exercise really helps me manage my diabetes. But and so I challenge you in the sense that you're not very good at stuff.
Yeah, no, it's a limiting belief, isn't it?
100% a limiting belief. And I'm not. So I'm a cyclist. I used to do triathlon, and I love pushing the boundaries of who I am. And I think that's a critical distinction to make. Is I don't care about a leaderboard. I don't care about winning. I care about pushing myself to becoming something better.
Further than you thought you could.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's everything I do is about how can I stretch to something more than where I am today without breaking. And I've broken a few times. And I think that's where my passion really lies. It's not in cycling.
Yeah.
It's not in triathlon. It's not in football. It's in helping people see that they are the issue, not some genetic constraint, or it's generally down to don't say you're not good enough, say you don't want to do it. It's that's the difference. That's the difference. Because you don't know if you could do it or not. You have to try.
Apply yourself. It's like anything, isn't it?
And absolutely. And I think people as well get caught up in this idea of motivation. And I think motivation follows action. You don't get motivated to then go to the gym. You go to the gym and then get motivated.
So it's a good point. Motivation is there, and it also disappears quite quickly as well. So it's the daily habits and the consistency and the discipline of what you do Monday to Sunday. Yeah. And motivation comes and goes. Yeah.
And I'd love at sometime in my future, I'd love to do a study on something I'm calling emerging goals. I ran a half marathon in 1 hour 24. In triathlon, my fastest ever half marathon was 138, and 135 actually, because it was 11 minutes. And this one day, I was running I was in a team of 2 other diabetics, and I started running. Saw someone I knew ahead of me, wanted to catch them, then saw someone else in front of them, and kept seeing people. And these emerging goals kept coming. And they kept motivating me. And I was going, wow, I'm going to blow up in a minute. I'm going too fast. And the negative or the limiting beliefs were trying to take over.
Yeah.
But I kept seeing something worth
breaking
pursuing.
through every barrier.
So this motivation and pursuit were kind of going hand in hand, but it required me to do some action first. Ultimately, and I was going to say something else and I've now forgotten. But yeah, so I cycled up and down Jebel Jace. So when you in the winter. Take the family to the top of Jebel Jace. You can take dogs in there as well to drive an hour and a half from Dubai. It's a beautiful mountain. It looks very bare when you look at it when you drive up there for the first time.
Yeah.
But it's green in the mountainside. It's some amazing views when you watch the sun rise and the sun set. It's absolutely stunning. And there's a cafe at the top and it's beautiful. Really nice. Yeah. Highest cafe in the UAE.
Wow.
Got 1486 or 3 or something like that it's called.
I've seen a few people, influencers and successful people here, and I watch their stories on Instagram and I'll see them hiking quite a lot. And again, you just don't imagine Dubai to be like that. And Dubai probably isn't, but outside of Dubai, I mean, you'll probably know most of them. But it looks beautiful. And again, it's just like, it's that contrast between what you've got in the city and outside.
Yeah. So people get caught, it's easy to get caught up in the speed of Dubai.
Yeah.
And then you get locked into this one confined area of whatever you've found yourself in. And then you just get pulled from pillar to post in that one thing. But if you do take a step out, if you go to places like, if you just take a drive over to Oman, it's beautiful green, temperatures lower, the mountains are higher. If you go up to Ras Al Khaimah, you've got the highest mountain in the UAE. It gets cold at the top.
Right.
They've had snow at the top of the mountain at times. If you then go over to Fujairah, you've got really nice water, you've got a great beach, you've got great scuba diving. If you go slightly down the coast, you've got even better scuba diving and better beaches.
So I'm guessing, just listening to you, because again, I can sense the passion, not only in the cycling stuff, but the almost being here, there's loads of activities for someone like yourself to do to keep you active and keep you motivated.
There's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
So I got here, I learned to skydive, I learned to motocross ride or desert ride on a motocross bike.
Yeah.
I learned to snowboard and ski.
And is it the thrill of these things that you really enjoy? I know it's pushing yourself outside your boundaries, but is it?
I love speed.
Buzz.
Yeah. So I'm coming from the Isle of Man. It's hard not to like motorbikes.
Yeah.
The TT is we grow up with kind of speed in our bloods, in our blood, and I love living on the edge of my seat, and just doing new stuff. Yeah, I get bored relatively quickly. Yeah, and it costs me a lot. Yeah, to stay in. So like creating this idea, I hit a wall a few weeks ago and had to take some time off. Yeah. To refresh and re-energize, because I kind of felt like I was going nowhere because I wasn't getting the same progress. Yeah, and if you feel like at that stage you're trying to push water uphill, you have to stop because you're just trying to create something. The energy's not there, the creativity's not there. You do need to take a step back. Been there as well. Yeah. And it's it's leaders come out of the dark, right? And I've got a few friends that I spoke to them about that, saying I'm just feeling a bit flat and like, keep moving, because what we've talked about and what I've seen as part of the experience, it's amazing. Yeah. It's like the report that I did I've probably done about 12 reports for this thing on the energy profile tool. And because I've tried to make it simple and say, this is how you're showing up as according to this. Here are what are some of the things that your peers or your manager or whoever are saying that you're doing really well. And here's 2 things that you're not doing as well as you potentially could be. Work on those. And yes, I'm a strengths-based individual, but I think in a performance equation perspective, we have to think about the weaknesses, because they're not self-weaknesses. They're just energy parts that aren't being optimized. Yeah. So it's not developing a weakness. Actually, there are a few words that I'm going to use differently now. It's optimizing those lower performing parts of the equation. Yeah. Yeah. Because it all adds up. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you get it right, I mean, there are a few parts of it that are weighted slightly higher than others, but ultimately, if you can work on all 5 principles, then I
You'll be doing well.
promise people they will get better at
Yeah.
whatever it is they're trying to do. They'll have more self-assurance, they'll have more self-fulfillingness in their work, because also they'll connect more to their work. And I think one of the things that I'm also passionate about is this idea that many people in business are in business because they're surviving.
Absolutely.
They're not thriving. Now, I know that's easy for a white guy who's had relative privileges, i.e. job opportunities, that people would see that as an easy thing for someone like me to say. But the truth is, I came from a working class family that, you know, had nothing. We barely had any wealth at all. I don't remember going on a holiday until I was like 16 years old. And it's all about what do we want in life, but often because we get trapped in the speed, we stop looking. And then the second we start looking, we realize we can either do one of two things. We can find somewhere else to apply our contribution, and we'll call it a contribution to society, to capitalist behavior, to organizations, whatever. Or we can find ourselves in the thing that we're doing. And I think there's a book called Love Plus Work. It's a guy called Marcus Buckingham, and I think he's hit the nail on the head when he's saying we've all got little red threads. We've all got little things that we're passionate about. And I'll just give you a quick example. I interviewed someone a few years ago for an accountancy job. And I said to her, so why are you an accountant? And she was really honest. She goes, oh, no idea.
Pays the bills.
Yeah, literally pays the bills. So I said, oh, okay, so tell me, you know, just give me something that you really like about accounting. She's like, nothing at all.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine. I was like, so tell me about a time that you get butterflies in your stomach. And she goes, when my husband has an amazing meal that I've cooked for him. So I went, brilliant. Tell me about all the things that go into that process. And she's like, well, I have to drive to the shop to pick the produce. So I spend some time thinking about
that creativity involved.
What ingredients work together. Then I'm thinking about, well, how am I going to cook them? Then I get home. Then I start preparing things. Then I put them in the right places to cook. And then I serve it on the plate and give it to my husband, and he really enjoys it. So I was like, amazing. So I said, so how do you relate that to accountancy? And she goes, I've never thought about it. But actually, I get whole loads of spreadsheets, and I've got to create a management report, the meal. And I've got all these spreadsheets, the ingredients. I've got to sift through what ingredients I really need. Then I've got to pull all these ingredients into some kind of cooking presentation material, then put it on the plate so it can be presented. Then I've got the happy management. So it wasn't that she didn't like accountancy, or she just hadn't related it to the things that she loves doing. And I think if people took a message from this podcast, it's that message. Figure out what you love doing, and then try to find the application to the work that you're doing. Yeah,
apply it to what you're doing now. And if you can't, then try and find something else.
Absolutely, yeah. But you will go much further down the success path if you can find the things that excite you.
Yeah, about purpose.
And it's not about being excited in work all the time, because I'm not an idealist. Try to keep things as real as possible. But if you don't like anything about what you do, then you're in the wrong place. So you've got to find the things that you can do, that you can apply, that would give you, I don't know, maybe 20% of your time you're super happy and super engaged.
A reason to out your bed in the morning.
And often it's there, we just don't see it. And that's the thing I love about coaching, is coaching can elicit those things if it's done well.
If you ask the right questions and you really dig deep.
To be honest, coach only needs to ask one or two questions, and the person should talk and talk and talk. And it's about space, it's about questions, it's about actually, and that space is probably, again, it's a catalyst for coaching movement.
Okay. So Nick, it's been a real pleasure having you on. A couple of really interesting insights there, particularly in leadership. Now, if anyone listening or watching wants to get in touch with you and to work with you a bit closer, or even follow you on your crazy journeys on that bike that I've seen on Instagram the last few days when I've started following you, what's the best way someone should be able to get in touch with you?
Either drop me a WhatsApp, but that's probably the best way to do it, to be honest. They could drop me an email as well. I'll share my email and WhatsApp.
Yeah, we can put that in the show notes, and same with your Instagram handle and stuff as well. Yeah, sounds good. Sure. Nick, pleasure. Thank you very much for being on the podcast.
All mine. Pleasure. Thank you.
How's that?